Okay, I'm back. Couple of other tidy up issues on the data table before we call it finished. One thing I noticed is I did not center the surface area to volume ratio data. So I'm just going to click the center there. That just makes it consistent across the table. Looks a little better. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bold the title and the raw and processed data division is just going to highlight those cells and click on the bold button. I think that'll pop a little bit better. Now there was this issue of the table not fitting on a page, and that is a huge no-no. You lose points in the IA on the communication part of the rubric if you have tables spanning from one page to the next. So I've been playing around with it, and that's essentially what you have to do. You have to play around with it, and I'm going to show you the things that you can use to play around with. One thing I'm going to do is these rows that have data in them, so not our title rows up here, but just those rows. I highlighted those rows. I'm going to right click and go to row height, and it was set at about 0.35, I think, and I think if I go 0.46, it just compresses those rows a little bit, and I'm now on a page. And I'll prove that to you in just a second. The other thing that you play around with is if you go to File, Page Setup, and you can play around with the margins, and so that's these things. You can just decrease them and increase them as needed, and also the page, you can toggle between portrait and landscape. And so it doesn't matter if it's portrait, like up and down on the page, or landscape side to side. It doesn't matter as long as it fits on a page. Okay? Right now I've got it set to landscape. I think I'm going to click it on portrait and see what it looks like. Also, see that dotted line? So I'm off of the page, I think. I'm going to go to File, Print, just so I can see a preview. See, so one of two. So I'm on, here's my second page. That's no good. So I could do a couple of things there. I could play with the margins, or maybe if I go back to landscape and put it lengthwise on the page, it'll work. So I'm going to cancel that and go back to page setup, click on landscape, and that looks better, and I'm there on the bottom too. Let's have a look at it. File, Print, and it's all on a page. Now, if you wanted to play around with your column widths, you could space it out to take more of this white space, but really it doesn't matter. For what we're doing here in Pre-IB Science 10, let's not worry about it. The data table is now set. It'll print on a page. It's formatted. It's beautiful. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay, now we have to do this graph, and I set this little side table up, and this is just so it's easy for me to get the numbers that I need to build the graph from. So what I want to graph is, this is my x-axis, my independent variable, and this is my y-axis, my dependent variable. So I'm going to highlight those two rows. Never mind the standard deviations, these numbers. Never mind those. We're going to need those later. This, I'm just graphing these, 6, that's a point on the graph, 690. 360 and 251. So what I'm going to do, I got it highlighted, and I'm going to go to Chart, and I'm going to select a scatter, a marked scatter. Okay, and boom, there's my graph. Done. Well, I got to make it look pretty, but I got to do a lot of formatting and titles and things like that. But that's the graph. This is a little legend. I've only got one series on this graph, so it makes no sense. I just clicked here, and it highlighted that as a text box. I'm going to push delete, and it'll auto size, so that's good. What can I tell you? We need a lot of things here. We need titles. It occurs to me that I don't have my little cheat sheet printout where I can read this title and type it in for you. I left it in another place. So I might have to pause this video and start again. Sorry, click. This is the graph that I want. Oh, just got a message. Beautiful. Okay, get lost. Done. Good. Yeah, I'm going to, I want this graph that I just produced to look like this graph. And so we've got a lot of work to do, and I think I just need to go grab my sheet so that I can type what I need to type on our graph. So sorry, bear with me. Next video.